Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. This is our very first video show. We still have our podcast, so if you're used to listening to us via Apple Music or iHeartRadio, you can definitely still do that. But this is something new that we wanted to introduce because everyone wants to see us, so now you can. You can go on our YouTube page, youtube.com/The Stephen Knight Show. But here we are. All right, so first of all, Ms. Parker, how was your weekend? How's everything going? Week 8 of this.
Happy Monday,
quarantine.
Right? Week 8 of quarantine. My weekend was great. You know, it was a great weather-wise weekend. Friday through Sunday, we had weather in the 80s. So I was out running and hiking and doing all those outdoorsy things that I like to do. Sunday, I didn't really do much. Hung out at the house for a while and then got some food, and then you stopped by.
Social distance with you.
Right, social distance with me with the headset that we needed to do the show. So, but it was a great weekend. I, was kind of teasing that we were standing by the window looking outside on Sunday, like kids want to go outside to play, but
right,
didn't really do much. So I know some of the stores are reopened, Home Goods and things like that. And there were a lot of cars out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think things are slowly getting back, or people are slowly getting back outside, but I'm going to wait a while.
I'm with you. Chika Evans, how was your week? I know you're an essential employee, so how was everything going with you?
Everything is busy as usual, with every day something new happening.
Yeah.
And they're slowly but surely starting to get back to elective surgeries. So this week will be the week that we attempt to reconvene to business as usual, on a smaller scale, of course.
Right.
Luckily, in our facility, we have multiple buildings, and they're going to take the surgery center and basically do essential services over there, and keep the COVID inside the main hospital, which they pretty much have contained anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Mr. Nair, how was your weekend?
It was good. I'm just really excited about our new setup.
Me too.
I'm it's good to have the talks that we have, but to see everyone with it, this feels good to me.
Right. We can see who's rolling their eyes. Who's
right. I can see who really hate my comments now.
Exactly. For those of you tuning in, we've had this show this is our 10th season. We've been doing it for 9 years, and it's been podcast based, internet radio based, and so now we're bringing you visuals, and so we're excited about that. This is our first show, May 4th. Tonight we welcome Albert Lee. He's running for Congress to be the first African-American if he wins, to be elected to Congress in Oregon. And he's a Democrat, and he has some very interesting points of view that we'll listen to in our later segment. So definitely keep a lock for that. But it's time to go into our question of the day. Well, first, before we do that, it's Teachers Appreciation Week. So shout out to all the teachers out there that are,
Amen.
Especially the ones that are doing this virtual teaching now with the coronavirus and everything. Thank you for keeping our kids educated, and especially the good teachers.
The good teachers are definitely heroes.
Yeah, now the parents that are teaching.
Oh yeah, the parents that are teaching. Exactly. You're part of this too. Congratulations to you, and thank you as well.
Most definitely. My mother was educated for 38 years. Started off as a teacher, then went to be a vice principal, and then a principal, which she didn't want to do. But I will say, in the 1 year that she was a principal, her school had the highest test scores in the state of Virginia. Wow. So shout out to all the educators out there. Yeah. All right, so our question of the day, check this out. So a college professor was conducting a Zoom class. A lot of them now are doing Zoom classes, and he shared his screen with his students. Several students noticed that in another tab, he had been watching porn. And the screenshot went viral, and the university essentially fired him even after he apologized. So the question is, do you think he should have been fired? Ms. Parker.
I think for me, it's not the matter of whether he should have been, if whether or not he violated any of their employment agreement. And a lot of jobs and companies, employers have an agreement, especially when they're giving you equipment such as laptops, that you can use it for inappropriate personal use. So I think just that in itself warrant some kind of disciplinary action. And the category in which he was watching, which was college girls, that probably warranted some type of creep level from the
head of
administration. Administration. So I don't know if he should have been fired for simply watching porn, but I think there are circumstances within the situation that warranted some disciplinary action and possibly firing.
Yeah. What about you, Chike?
Most of those institutions have morality clauses, so I'm sure he probably violated some type of morality clause. So I'm going to say, yeah, according to the paperwork, he needs to go. But on a human level, I mean,
Yeah, I agree. On a just a basic level of just watching porn, I don't think that's the big deal. But I think, with it being his job and probably we have some agreements with the university with equipment, and also, like Chike say, on a moral level in the category in which he was participating, it's probably all warranted to that decision.
What do you think, Nair?
Yeah, I agree with Michelle. Probably something that needed to be examined and looked at for sure. That may have led to a firing. But also his service record. I don't know what kind of a teacher this was, if this was the first thing that they've had to confront him about, or is this, a number of things that he's kind of let slip or been irresponsible towards. So probably a look into it, but this may have been that point for him where it was time for him to just go. Might have been a last straw type of thing,
Yeah. I think if it was a last straw, then definitely fire. But if it was the first offense, I think it would have been a write-up or suspension or something in his record. But I think it depends. I was watching the show earlier today, and they were saying there's a lot of variables that go into this, like, how old was he? Looking at young college students. What was he teaching? Did he make anyone feel uncomfortable in the classroom? Were there other histories of him being reported for whatever? You know what I mean? So I think that all ties into it. But based on what I don't think he should have got fired. I think definitely something should have happened, but definitely not him losing his job, because we're all going through this together, the coronavirus, and having to learn new ways of doing things, these Zoom classes and all that. But my thing is, someone said it on the question of the day, who watches porn on the same device to do their work?
A lot of people, believe it or not.
I guess so. That was kind of shocking too. Like, I mean, they can scrub the computers, they can really figure out what you've been doing on the computer. I wouldn't dare.
No, I wouldn't dare. Remember, Ms. Park, we had a coworker.
Yes, that's how I'm like, a lot of people do it.
He didn't realize it, but he was typing in something. All he saw was something you could tell was porn.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No,
all right, so
too close.
Our coronavirus update. So at this point, worldwide, we have 3.55 million cases, 13 million recovered, and 248,000 deaths worldwide. In the U.S., we've had 1.19 million cases, 153,000 recovered, and 60,000 plus deaths here in the United States. Now, 30 states have opened with restrictions starting last Friday and even more so today. They say by mid this week, about 42 states will be open with stipulations. Now, crowds gathered here in Atlanta to buy new Air Jordans, even as the lockdown was lifted. I mean, of course, it was all us. Scientists are focusing on 14 possible vaccines. Now, your boy in the office says that we should have a vaccine for sure by January, but scientists are saying it'll probably be much later into 2021. And Trump is also urging states to reopen, but according to the New York Times, that could lead to up to 3,000 deaths a day by June. Now, when this all started, we were averaging about 2,000 deaths a day. People are out there boycotting and killing security guards just for asking them to wear a mask. You can't enter a store, and if you do, they're saying, "Hey, put on a mask." And there have been several people who have been killed, security officers, as well as there was at a park ranger was pushed in the water for telling people to social distance. Ms. Parker, at this point of everything that this week, what are your thoughts on where we are with coronavirus, and how comfortable are you with going back to the business as usual?
I think it's really important that we don't highlight the negativity just in our community. I understand that, we make fun of it and, and the circumstances surrounding people getting their nails done, hair done, standing in line for Jordans. But I think that message, what it does is it gives other communities and other races a basis that we are all in agreement that it's only us. Because what happened in New York over the weekend is just unbelievable. They attacked a Black man for not social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, down the street in Manhattan, the park was crowded with people, neck to neck, and they were handing out gloves and masks instead of arresting them and fining them.
Mm-hmm.
But within our community, they feel like they have the power to treat us as they want to. Regarding things like this. So I think that we're all responsible. We all have responsibility in keeping each other safe. And I think that if the message is that only the Black community is doing wrong, which I think some of the messaging that, that our community was being targeted for reopening, and that it's only our community that's taking part in the reopening, which is not true. Last week, as I stated, when I went to the park here, it was crowded with nothing but white people.
Well, the protesters have been predominantly white. The people out there protesting and
to reopen. So I think that we need to be mindful of how we spread the message of Black people going out and doing things that they're not supposed to, because I think everyone's participating in the spread of this virus and also being irresponsible to some level. I'm choosing not to really go out. I was on Facebook, and there was a group I follow about home decor. And they posted in there that Home Goods is open and they're having patio furniture on sale. It took everything in me this weekend not to go. I had to talk myself down on Saturday, talk myself down yesterday.
You talking about that? Yeah.
But I think that it's a choice that I've made to be safe and be and make the decisions. My gym reopened today. They're doing the gym that I go to is more of a boot camp settings, between 20 to 25 people typically. Per class. Now they've limited the classes to 11, and they have they have boxes where you are 6 feet apart, and all of these measurements put into place, and then you have to also select the time and make sure you have a slot and all those things. But I still don't feel comfortable because 11 people times 8 different slots, that's a lot of people going in and out of one space per day. Right. So I think we just have to make decisions that's best for us, keep ourselves healthy. And, the numbers are going to reflect what's really going on, and be mindful of that. You can make an informed decision.
Most definitely. And Chika, as our,
medical expert.
Resident medic, yeah.
What are your thoughts on where we are with everything? You said that your hospital is going to start doing elective surgeries and whatnot. What are your thoughts on us getting closer to business as usual?
With that being started in the healthcare field, I'm for it. I'm not looking forward to other businesses opening up. I can only control me. The worst part about all of this for me is my commute back and forth to work, dealing with other people. And I call them the rogues, and they're just rogues from my point of view. They're rogues. They're in the street. You don't know where they've been. You don't know what they're doing. Sometimes they could be homeless, sometimes not. It runs the gamut. And then you have people out here acting silly, just doing things. You can't control them. So what I do when I'm not at work, I'm home.
Yeah.
Then work, then home again. I won't be joining in on the reopening. And I know it's an easy ask for me to ask someone to stay home because I'm not quarantined. I'm not staying home. So I'm going back and forth to work. But if you understood how my job gets harder when people come in ill because they haven't done their due diligence for themselves, it's like I can't even explain to you to watch a patient suffer from that disease. It's literally suffocating to death by yourself.
I can only imagine. Nair, what
that hair, them rollers, that extra hair, them nails, that cut is not worth it. It's not worth it.
Did you hear about the mayor in Texas who she went to go get her nails done? She bumped into someone who owned a salon, and she had her open her salon, and someone took a picture of her in there, and so she had to do a public apology, for breaking her own guidelines. But Nair, what are your thoughts?
Man, look, I'm somebody who tries to not spend money anyway, So I'm trying to make a lot of money and invest a lot of money. So I don't need to be out. The things that I need, I can Instacart it, or I can, if I just need to get out, I'm going out to spaces where I'm comfortable. But I'm not pressed to be shopping nowhere. You see, I'm growing my beard out, and so I ain't really stressing over no barber or anything, to be honest. I can wait. And I think the theme is common amongst us. Do what you think is best to make an informed decision for you and your environment, you and your family or whoever you're around. Make that informed decision. I was going to ask Michelle when she said that, I was going to say, so how would someone who doesn't see things the way we see this, who relies on the public's opinion to make this informed decision? And then she said it when I was thinking that question. Look at the numbers. They don't tell all of the story, but they tell a good deal of it for you to make a well enough decision for you and that decision you made about going to the gym. You said 11 times, 8 slots, yada yada. No, I think I'm gonna wait.
Exactly.
That's enough. The number's enough.
And can I just add, if you're taking the thought process to go out, to break quarantine and to go out and be amongst everyone, that course of thinking 9 times out of 10 also leads to you probably not doing the proper thing while you're out. You're probably not protecting yourself the best way you could when you're out, because you're going to be totally immersed in whatever activity that is. And you want to get back to normal, and normal is with our guard down.
Right.
So I don't think that your average person is out there with the due diligence, as a healthcare worker would be out.
Mm-hmm. And you could probably speak to this. I heard someone say, well, I can pretty much keep track of my hands, so I remember what I touch. And I said, you don't realize how many things you touch and then touch your face or your nose or your lips or your eyes just quickly, not even really. So how often would you guess or estimate somebody who's not aware is touching their face, or they're using their hands to touch their face throughout an hour?
And it's not even that. You put your hands in your pocket. What was in your pocket before?
Yeah.
Right.
You're picking up something, and then you're touching something else.
Doorknobs.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And here in Atlanta, they said, in Georgia, they said that since everything started opening up, deaths have gone up 40%. 40%. The whole point is for it to go down before you start opening up, but it's going up, and we're still opening things up. So, and things for me, and I understand everyone wants to get back to work. People need to make money, but if we're dead, we can't enjoy the stuff anyway. And things like tattoos or massage parlors, those aren't, at this point, who's thinking about that? You know what I mean? But anyway. All right, so while many Americans still wait to receive their stimulus checks, one New York City man has taken as many as he could. According to a report, the man was arrested after allegedly he stole $12,000 worth of stimulus checks from mailboxes and local residents. Now, according to NBC News, Feng Chen, who's 31 years old from New York, he was arrested earlier last week for allegedly stealing 9 coronavirus stimulus checks worth more than $12,000 from mailboxes, according to federal prosecutors. Now, Chen was discovered by police when they caught him looking inside mailboxes in the Sunset Park neighborhood in Brooklyn, according to this statement released by the U.S. Attorney's Office. When he was arrested, they found him with more than $12,000, credit cards, open envelopes, and letters bearing the names of various individuals and mailed addresses. Now, according to the district attorney, they said for many families, these stimulus checks are a lifeline in these difficult times, and anyone who tries to cut that lifeline will face the full weight of the law. The office will vigorously prosecute those who seek to take advantage of the public health crisis. Now, he went to court last week for the first time via video conference, and he's facing up to 5 years in prison. What are your thoughts, Ms. Parker?
I guess I'm trying to figure out, are you able to cash somebody else's check these days? How does that work? No, it's a serious question.
No,
I'm not aware.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Exactly. Like, did the banking system change?
Right.
How did he think he was going to get away with that?
Right, because you do have to have ID, and if you do it from your own account, it have to match your name. The check have to match your name. If you're doing it virtually, so I guess I didn't know what his plans were with the check, but I'm sure criminals figure out a way to get cash, without having to provide that type of information. I think mailbox, people stealing out of mailboxes are something that we don't talk about enough. And I think a lot of times it's not just other people stealing out of mailboxes, but I think the postal service people steal mail too. Because
Especially in the holidays.
I have had several gift cards stolen. I've had birthday cards did not show up because they can see when you have a gift card in there. I have had things stolen out of my mailbox quite often. So packages and things like that. So that's something that needs to be addressed, because I think people feel like it's a victimless crime, and that, okay, well, if I take this person package, the company is going to reimburse them, or they could get another check anyways. That's not true. It's not always easy. I had some items stolen at Christmas that was never reimbursed for over $150. So it's just, I think that people do it thinking like I said, it's a victimless crime and they can get another check reimbursed. But I'm glad that he was caught, because those are people who need their money, and there are people who are still waiting to get that money. And if it's due to someone else not being, a good citizen and taking other people's check, then that's not fair.
Most definitely. Now you get something?
No. I was gonna speak to that. The fact that I'm happy that he was caught with them, because, those people's names at least can be reconciled. Otherwise, they're just on the phone complaining, saying, I didn't get my check. And then the government got to figure out, so.
Right.
If you can get someone on the phone.
Right.
These
Right.
days.
That's the
Right.
thing.
Get on the phone. So at least those were found, and they were able to get to those people and say, all right, it really didn't get to you. We got you,
Right.
Most definitely. Well, look, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more hot topics right back after this.